Now we're going to see how to use se for a different purpose, the accidental se. So when do we use this se? We use this se in situations where you would say in English, for example, oh, I dropped the glass. What happened if you translated that directly into Spanish? That would be tiré el vaso or dejé caer el vaso, more formal. But if we hear that, what we're going to ask is why? Why would you do such a thing? Now the glass is broken. I don't understand why you would do that. Because that sounds like you did it on purpose. So, how to say that something happened to you accidentally is by the use of se. So, instead of saying that I dropped the glass, that I did the action, we kind of say that the glass broke itself under my watch or on me, so to speak. So, we would say se me cayó el vaso or se me rompió el vaso. The glass fell from me or it broke on me. So as we see here, it is not I who is responsible for the action really. It is the glass itself, which is one of the strangest things about the Spanish language, where their responsibility does not fall on the person, rather it falls on an object or an action. So it's a great way to avoid responsibility or to indicate that something happened by accident. It wasn't on purpose. So for example, you could say, se me cayó el vaso, se cayó el vaso. So se cayó el vaso would be when it didn't happen to you directly. For example, the glass was on the table and suddenly it fell. So that would be se cayó el vaso. I wasn't there involved directly. But if I have it on my hand and it slips or I drop it, then I would say se me cayó el vaso. To me, it fell, right? Or it slipped from me. So what is the structure for this accidental se? The first step is that we're going to use the word se, the reflexive pronoun. Okay, we're going to use that or the accidental se, however you want to consider it. And then we're going to use an object. All right, that object will be a pronoun like me, te, le, nos, les. Right, so remember those pronouns, indirect object pronouns. Any of these pronouns will do, which indicates who the action happened to, under whose watch, so to speak, happened the accident, okay? And then we're going to go with the verb in the third person, which has to agree with the object of the action. For example, se me cayó el teléfono. Why do we say that it has to agree with the object of the action? For example, a phone is singular, okay? So it will be se me cayó. Or I could also say se les perdieron las llaves. They lost the keys. So the se would be because it's accidental. The les is because the action happened to them. Se les. And the verb says perdieron. Why perdieron and not perdió? It's not just one key, it's a group of keys. So se les perdieron. So we see here that the verb perdieron is not because it's they that lost the key. It doesn't have a relationship with the subject itself. It is because the keys, the object that was lost, is more than one. Se les perdieron las llaves. So if I was the one that lost all of the keys, I would say se me perdieron las llaves, indicating that even though I am just one person, and that's why I said me, the keys still are in plural. So I would say se me perdieron. Whereas if I just lose one key, I would say, se me perdió la llave. So to use this structure in English, you would have to either say that you dropped it, like for example, the glass, I dropped the glass, or that something happened by accident to you. So you could say like, I accidentally broke the glass, or the glass broke on me. Spanish is more direct though. So you can say, se nos quemó la comida. The food burned while we were cooking. Se nos quemó la comida. Or you can say, se le cayó el libro. He or she dropped the book. So do you see the difference here? Spanish is more direct, and in this case, it allows you to show that it was not done on purpose. It's like it isn't directly your responsibility. Something happened, but without you trying to do that. Something broke on you, something got lost on you. We can also use this structure to say phrases such as, I ran out of money. So it wasn't your intention to do that. So you would say, se me acabó el dinero. Se me acabó el dinero. I ran out of money. You can use the same expression to speak about time. Oh, se me acabó el tiempo. Se me acabó el tiempo. I ran out of time. We usually use the verb to lose, perder, with these things. So for example, I could say, se me perdió la billetera. I lost my wallet. Se me perdió la billetera. Also, we use the verb to forget. For example, olvidarse. Se me olvidaron los documentos. Se me olvidaron los documentos. I forgot the documents. One keynote. In English, when you forget something at home by mistake, you would say things such as, I left my glasses, right? If you say that in Spanish, it really sounds like you did it on purpose. So how to say that? We're going to use the verb quedarse, which can mean to stay, or to remain. So here we would say, se me quedaron los lentes. Se me quedaron los lentes. So se me quedaron los lentes means that they are at your place without you trying to do so. And you can even say where they are. Se me quedaron los lentes en casa. You can also say, me olvidé los lentes en casa, or se me olvidaron los lentes en casa with the accidental se.